The Hollow Men, 1925, is a poem by T.S.Eliot. Its themes are, like those of many of Eliot's poems, overlapping and fragmentary. But it is recognized to be concerned most with post-World War I Europe, under the Treaty of Versailles, which Eliot despised, compared Guaranteeing the difficulty of hope and religious conversion, and, as some critics argue, Eliot's own failed marriage. Vivian Haywood Eliot might have been having an affair with Bertrand Russell. The poem is divided into 5 parts and consists of 98 lines, of which the last 4 are probably the most quoted lines of any 20th century poet writing in English. Journey of the character in the poem. Eliot's characters often undergo a journey, either physical or spiritual or both. The Hollow Men seems to follow the otherworldly journey of the spiritually dead. These hollow men have the realization, humility and acknowledgement of their guilt, and their status as broken, lost souls. The hollow men fail to transform their emotions into actions. Conception to creation, desire to fulfillment. This awareness of the split between thought and action, coupled with their awareness of death's various kingdoms, and acute diagnosis of their hollowness, makes it hard for them to go forward and break through their spiritual sterility. And as the poem and their journey ends, they see the horror that curtsies in the heart of darkness. There is a complete breakdown of language, prayer and the spirit as the world ends. Not with a bang but a whimper. Theme and context. Eliot wrote that he produced the title, The Hollow Men, by combining the titles of the romance, The Hollow Land, by William Morris, with the poem, The Broken Men, by Rudyard Kipling. But it is possible that this is one of Eliot's many constructed allusions, and that the title originates more transparently from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, or from the character Kurtz in Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, who is referred to as a hollow sham and hollow at the core. The 2 epigraphs to the poem, Mr. Kurtz, he dead and a penny for the old guy, are allusions to Conrad's character and to Guy Fawkes, attempted arsonist of the English House of Parliament, and his straw man effigy that is burned each year in the United Kingdom on Guy Fawkes Night, the 5th of November. Eliot's title, The Hollow Men, obliquely acknowledges the bonfires which accompanied the celebration of All Hallows' Eve, falling on the 31st of October, which particularly in the United States were conflated with Guy Fawkes celebrations. Over the course of the 19th century, some critics read the poem as told from 3 perspectives, each representing a phase of the passing of a soul into one of Death's kingdoms. Death's dream kingdom, Death's twilight kingdom, and Death's other kingdom. Eliot describes how we, the living, wish to be seen by those who have crossed, with direct eyes, not as lost, violent souls, but only as the hollow men, the stuffed men. The image of eyes figures prominently in the poem, notably in one of Eliot's most famous lines, "Eyes I dare not meet in dreams." Such eyes are also generally accepted to be in reference to Dante's Beatrice. The poet depicts figures gathered on this beach of the tumid river, drawing considerable influence from Dante's 3rd and 4th cantos of the Inferno, which describes limbo, the first circle of hell, showing man in his inability to cross into hell itself or to even beg redemption, unable to speak with God. Dancing round the prickly pear, the figures worship false gods, recalling children and reflecting Eliot's interpretation of Western culture after World War I. The final stanza may be the most quoted of all of Eliot's poetry. This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends. Not with a bang but a whimper. When asked in 1958 if he would write these lines again, Eliot responded with a no. One reason is that while the association of the H-bomb is irrelevant to it, it would today come to everyone's mind. Another is that he is not sure the world will end with either. People whose houses were bombed have told him they don't remember hearing anything. Other significant references include the Lord's Prayer, Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, and Conrad's An Outcast of the Islands, life is very long. Summary of the poem. One of the major themes prevalent in The Hollow Men is the struggle to maintain hope. The hollow men hope that they will be rescued from their stagnant state. But this seems unlikely, as they cannot even bring themselves to look at any of the souls who pass through. The Hollow Men poem begins with two epigraphs. One is from Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. Mr. Kurt's he dead, and the other is a penny for the old guy, which is an expression by school children to buy firecrackers to celebrate Guy Fawkes Day. On this day straw effigies are burnt. The 5 sections of the poem are narrated by a hollow man. In the first part of the poem, a group of hollow men are shown leaning on each other like the scarecrows. Everything about their characteristics is absolutely dry and dull. Their voices are dry, bodies are shapeless, and shades are colorless and are as dry as the grass in the wind. Their life is projected as absurd and meaningless life. They want to raise a voice, but are timid and cannot even have access to the hell. They are only stuffed as hollow. In the second part of the poem, one of the hollow men is found feeling afraid of looking at the people who made it to Death's dream kingdom, which may be either hell or heaven. All the hollow men are living in a world full of broken symbols and images. The setting is barren and brown, filled with cactus and stones. In the third section of the poem, the hollow men cannot even kiss someone if they desire to. They only can say prayers to the broken stones. In the section 4, the hollow men of section 2 goes on describing his vacant, desolate environment. He focuses on depicting that they have no eyes and are afraid to look at or to be looked at. The final section initiates with a nursery rhyme. Here we go round the mulberry bush. Except instead of a mulberry bush the kiddies are circling a prickly pear cactus. The speaker states how a shadow has paralyzed all of their activities to act, create, respond, or even exist. He tries quoting expressions that begin, "Life is very long and for thine is the kingdom." But these lines break off into fragments. In the final lines, the mulberry bush song turns into a song about the end of the world. The expectation of the world to end may be with a huge, bright explosion. But for the hollow men, the world ends with a sad and quiet whimper. End of the analysis. Thank you.